I finished slicing the tuna. My stone fruit puree is done. I'm going to start the blueberries.
Oh, garlic. Is that pepper? Duncan, what are you going to do with the blueberries?
Just dry roast them. So just draw out some of the sugars.
Yeah.
Also give it a nice contrast between raspberry and stone fruit, a little vinaigrette, but more earthy.
Yeah. That's awesome.
John, there is an immunity pin up for grabs here. Duncan, your reputation is on the line. Big time. 10 minutes to
go. John takes his pork belly out of the pressure cooker and it smells like heaven on earth, but it looks a little grey. When I think of pork belly, I think of that crunchy, crispy pork crackling, but I don't know what he's going to do with it at this stage. It doesn't look great to me.
My pork belly's been in the oven, rendering the fat, and that will give a nice base flavour note to actually make the vinaigrette. It still needs a little bit longer in the oven, otherwise I won't get enough fat rendered out of the pork.
Are you still rendering the fat for that?
Still rendering the fat, absolutely.
That's going to be the foundation, really, to your dressing.
It is indeed.
Yeah.
It is indeed. I'm going to actually dress this in a little bit of the pork fat.
Yeah.
That with a little bit of the stone fruit, the vinaigrettes.
I think the risk for Duncan in his dish is that it doesn't look like he's done a lot compared to what John's done. And it will come down to flavour, really, for Duncan's dish.
Gentlemen, this is it. 5 minutes to go. If it's not on the plate, it doesn't get tasted. Come on! Let's go, John! John's got a lot to do in the last 5 minutes. His dish looks really good, but he's going to have to pull a lot together if he wants to get this immunity pin.
I'm just running out of time. I've wasted so much time at the start, and I really need to get this dish finished so I can plate up something for the judges.
So, what are you thinking?
Very tender.
You happy with the taste of the skin?
I am a bit worried about the top layer of the skin. I was hoping that he was going to finish it off in the pan, maybe, just to give it a little bit of colour. But I think John's running out of time and he's just trying to get the dish up.
John, Duncan, 2 minutes to go. Come on!
Duncan's rendered some pork belly to try and use the fat for a vinaigrette for his tuna. And when he pulls it out of the oven and strains that juice off, he doesn't seem to have got quite as much as he would have liked.
How did it go? Pretty much out?
Ish, kind of, sort of. So, okay. This juice is extremely important because that's where the savoury element for the dish is going to come from. If that juice is missing, then I'll be in a lot of trouble. I wouldn't have the flavour profile at all.
Okay, 30 seconds, gentlemen. Let's go! Scatter it around. That going in there. Beautiful. Don't play with it. Just pull it in. You're telling your family story here. Yeah, no, that's it. That's it. John, relax. You're adding things that don't need to be added.
I'm starting to fall back onto my bad habits and overcomplicating my dish. No one's won the immunity pin yet, and Shannon's advice is ringing in my ears. I'm going to listen to him and not use the sugar cane dressing.
10 seconds to go! 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
How did you go?
Good, good. It was a bit stressful, but we got through that.
Oh, wow.
Duncan's plating is simple and clean, but really beautifully presented. I love the way he's used the pork fat to coat the tuna, and I just think it looks like really beautifully balanced.
John's plate looks phenomenal. He's done a lot. He's put a lot of work, a lot of effort into his plate. I'm actually starting to think that maybe John's in with a chance today.
I think there's two completely different worlds going on with Duncan and John, so it's really anyone's game today.
As always, it's going to be fascinating to to taste the two dishes. Two very different styles, I'm sure.
John, the direction I hope he's gone is clean and simple. We know he's a really good cook. He just tends to overcomplicate
So has he
things.
listened to Shannon?
Let's get the first dish in.
That's very delicate, isn't it?
Tuna, pork fat vinaigrette, and stone fruits.
Obviously, with the whole before pantry, there was no oil, so the use of pork fat is clever. Render it down and use that as that sort of fat lubricant. It looks really beautiful.
Come on then, let's serve up.
Oh my God, you know, I want to eat every single bit of that tuna. I imagine this as a 12, 14-course menu, paired with wine, and it's wonderful and it makes sense.
Yeah.
Fruit and fish is always a tricky combination, but I like the fact that the fruit's really there for the acidity. And whoever's cooked this has used the dill and the celery leaf as the spice. So even though it's a small dish, every mouthful has a different kind of fragrance.
I'm not getting a lot of flavour from the pork fat vinaigrette, but I'm still excited. It's fresh, it's clean, it's summery, and it's a nice combination of fruits and fish.
Shall we score?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, let's get the next dish in.
Pork adobo with coconut rice.
That's definitely a John dish.
Yeah.
Absolutely, isn't it? Looks good, though.
Looks really good.
Yeah, really good.
Looks really nice. And it smells wonderful.
That's good.
Yeah, really good. Shall we taste?
Yeah. It's going to be one of those things, it's going to be one of those tastings where you get a really pretty dish, really gorgeous, very subtle, against something that's kind of big and comfortable. If it tastes good, I know which one I'm going to lean towards.
Well, what I do love is the pineapple. I love the pineapple in that brothy mixture. I think it gives that sort of sweet acidity that really makes this dish.
I thought it was going to be, big, smack in the mouth flavours of, sweet, sour, salt, hot, but it's not. It's very subtle. My only criticism is that I'd like the pork cooked a little more, to be honest.
The bottom half of that chunk of pork is delicious.
Yeah.
It's beautifully soft, it's great, but then there's that big, thick seam of fat across the top.
It's not a crispy skin, is it? It's a very clever dish, though. And don't forget, because he was using the before, there was no fish sauce.
No fish sauce, exactly.
Yeah, really difficult to season it. So it'd be difficult in many ways to pick up, classic elements that you'd expect to be in this dish. So I think it's a great job.
Very clever dish. Shall we score?
Yeah.
Obviously, two different dishes, but I think it's going to be close. I know it's close on my cards.
Yeah. But you know what I love? There's restraint being shown on both dishes.
Yeah.
And so it shows that John has listened and he's learnt, and that's really exciting to see because it makes him a far, far better cook and a far bigger threat to Duncan.
Well, he could actually win this one, couldn't he?
Could do.
Only the scores will tell us, won't they?
Well, let's go and reveal them.